You don't have to sort of thing. 100%.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, Cardiff! Hope you're all doing well in light of what's happening, in light of what's going on, and in light of the stupidity of the unelected buffoon of a leader we have, Rishi Sunak. Yeah, don't. For those of you who watched the speech yesterday, I watched it back 3 or 4 times just to try and understand what the point of that message is. And it's very clear that the only point of that message was to embolden the racists, the far right, and those amongst the police who have a will to end these protests, and to give them that support that our racist Tory government will enable them to stop these protests. But all of you showing up today, you've got a very clear message that we will keep coming out. Our protests are peaceful, they always have been, and they always will be. If you guys can make a little space there so we have a nice display, and for anybody that's walking past, I want you to look at this display. So 2 days ago at 4 a.m. there was a drop of flour into northern Gaza, the first aid that got into northern Gaza in a very, very long time. Northern Gaza, where over 14 children have died from starvation, many have died from poison, from eating animal fodder, and there was a drop. Now the Zionist entity actually put videos up from their helicopters, and these videos have been used to corroborate that the shooting and the shelling came from the Israelis. So what they did is they starved the children, and then the parents who went to get flour, something as basic as flour, to be able to feed their children, they were shelled, they were shot from the sky. 104 confirmed dead, over 1,000 injured. This was an intended massacre. This is a continuation of ethnic cleansing and genocide. And Rishi Sunak had the audacity to come out yesterday to try and tell us to stop marching to support the Palestinian people. So I've made a little chant. It's melodic, and I want everyone to just sing along with me, yeah? We're just going to repeat it a few times. We don't want no war. We don't want no violence. We are not afraid. We will not be silenced. We don't want no war. We don't want no violence. We are not afraid, and we will not be silenced. We don't want no war. We don't want no violence. We are not afraid. We will not be silenced. We don't want no war. We don't want no violence. We are not afraid. We will not be silenced. So that's a very, very clear message to whoever needs to hear it, that these protests will not stop until the genocide does. Our government, just like some of the protesters now are showing, have blood on their hands. They are responsible for those who were killed at the Flower Massacre 2 days ago. They are also responsible for every single one of the 33,000 confirmed deaths, 70,000 injured, and 11,000 children who have been murdered in cold blood. We in this country, our government, those who rule us, are war criminals. They are murderers, and they are not fit to run this country. And another one that we always say when we're at different shops is your profits are covered in Palestinian blood. Our government's profits, the taxes that they are making, our local councils' hands are blooded with the blood of the Palestinians, with the blood of the Iraqis, with the blood of the Yemenis, with the blood of all of the colonized and all of the war-torn nations. The United Kingdom and the United States have a hand to play in that. We have elections upcoming in a couple of months. Now, it might be controversial, but yesterday there was a bit of a discussion about what happened in Rochdale with George Galloway taking the seat. Now, for me, some people like him, some people don't, but the fact is that Labour and Conservatives need to be taken out. They cannot keep power anymore. And you, every single one of you, every individual, every person, you have the ability, you have the power, and you have control in this upcoming election. And you need to use that and ensure that you use it wisely and make sure that these politicians don't come in.
No ceasefire!
No vote!
No ceasefire!
No vote!
No ceasefire!
No vote!
No ceasefire!
No vote!
No confidence!
No vote. Yeah. So again, thank you all for coming out today. Thank you all for the solidarity. Believe me, every single protest here in Cardiff, in Wales, in the UK, everywhere, the people of Gaza see it. The people of Palestine see it. The people of Yemen see it. And we need to remember today as well, Aaron Bushnell, who made a really, really big sacrifice. He made a point, he made a stand, sacrificing his own life. With the information that he had about US complicity in what's going on in Gaza, he said no more. I don't want any part of it. They will say he's mentally ill, they will say he is this, but he is not. He was an intelligence officer with a high level of access to information, and they wouldn't give that to anybody. He knew what they were doing, he's told us what they're doing, now we have to tell the world what they are doing. And we have to make a stand. We cannot just come out and peacefully protest and go home. No, it doesn't end there. We have a duty now to take further action, especially when it comes to boycotting, especially when it comes to shutting down weapons factories, especially when it comes to financially impacting the war machine that is the Zionist entity. We won't say Israel anymore, we'll call them the Zionist entity because that's exactly what they are. So we got a few speeches lined up and then we're doing a reverse march. Normally we end up here. There's like McDonald's and Starbucks and stuff like that to say hello. So yeah, shout it loud. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free!
At this point, if you support Israel, if you support Zionism, you are saying one thing. You are saying one thing, and that is that you believe Palestinians are not human. That is all that that's saying. Zionism, frankly, is a death cult. I do not care what they say. I do not care about their justifications. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a picture, the most graphic picture I have ever seen. During the Flower Massacre, where they massacred and shot at just people trying to get some flour to survive. They bulldozed a Palestinian man. And on his wrist, you could see there was something tied around his wrist that indicated he was not only detained by the IDF, but he'd been tortured. They then bulldozed him. They went over his body. These people are barbaric. They are barbaric. They are barbaric. And it is our duty to stand up to that. Can you imagine? We get to blur out that photo. Can you imagine what the Palestinians have seen that has not been photographed? The amount of trauma on the Palestinian mind and body we cannot comprehend. It is our moral duty to stand up for Palestinian liberation. And we say loud and proud that Israel does not have a right to exist. Because frankly, no country has a right to exist. I don't even know what that means. A country should not be causing genocide, and if it is committing genocide, then I'm sorry, if it did have any right to exist, it forfeited that right to exist. It's been mentioned before, but Aaron Bushnell's sacrifice, you can see in Yemen, you can see in Palestine, he's being held up as a martyr. Because they understand the struggle, and we are all part of that struggle. What he did, they called him mentally unwell. He's one of the sanest of us all. Because how? Think about this. The bare minimum we have asked for is a ceasefire. That is the bare minimum. And as we ask our government that we apparently elected to stop enabling genocide, they have threatened us with criminality. Process that for a second. We are asking our government to stop aiding and abetting genocide, and they said, you are criminals. They are the criminals, not us. And in Aaron Bushnell's last words, he said in his post, he said, people often wonder how they would act during slavery, how they would act during apartheid. You don't need to wonder, because you are doing it now. We are here in our loud voices, and we will continue to chant Free Palestine. They can threaten us all they like. We do not respect this government. We do not respect Israel. We do not respect the Western imperialist powers that continue to mount up Palestinian bodies. As we say no, they want more. So we have to escalate our struggle here. We have to continue our fight. And this is why, and I'll finish on this, do not let them act as if what we are doing is abnormal. We are doing what is right. And Malcolm X said, embrace your anger. Embrace that rage. Often we are told to not embrace our rage. Embrace it, because we should be angry. We should be furious. We should not be taking this. This is a turning point in our history, and we have to be as loud as possible, because everything that we do at this point is justified. They try to pretend this is some religious ancient war. This is about land. This is about imperialism. So we don't stop at a ceasefire. We want reparations, and most importantly, we want land back. We want a free Palestine. We want a one-state Palestine, and that Palestine is free for Jews, Muslims, secular people, Christians, as they live there until this country got their meddling hands in it, and the death cult of Zionism started to infect the minds and argue that genocide is justified. The only justified cause is the Palestinian cause, and that cause is a cause for humanity. So let's be loud. I'm going to introduce the next speaker, and you might have seen her. She did a concert in Bedwas, Kafili, where she got a huge number of people to sing in melody for a free Palestine. And you know what they said? They called her an anti-Semite.
Palestine's a Semite.
Since when was being against genocide being anti-Semitic? Last time I checked, Jewish people were not represented by the Israeli government, just like Muslims aren't represented by Saudi Arabia, just like all the despotic regimes do not represent the people around the world that are part of that religion that they say they represent. So we want to stand with Charlotte as she stood with us and she braced that, and we want to say in solidarity, Palestine will be free from the river.